Hey, friends, welcome to the show. It's me, Curtis. On today's show, I'm going to do some flashing back, some pick of the day. I was going to do a show with my friend Dan Williams doing some roasted tomatoes, and it's going to take a little more editing than I thought. So I put together some highlights of one of my shows, pick of the day, doing some work with tomatoes, and then some salads from Chef de Jour. A little clip of my friend John Muir Reynolds giving a CRT, Southern Marin Critical Response Team meeting update. And I would love for you all in Marin County to get involved with whatever part of the county you're in to learn about these critical responses for each part of the county. Okay, peace, love, spread love. Enjoy the show. Talk to you soon.
Hey, welcome back. You see the apron? It's time to cook. We're going to do tomato soup on today's show, Pick of the Day. We've been talking about tomatoes and got some wonderful, wonderful things for you here. Got some roasted tomatoes right here. Aren't those gorgeous? We just roasted those in the oven. You can do those on the grill. There's a lot of ways to roast them. Nice color there, and I just love the flavor of this. These can be eaten just like that with a little vinaigrette dressing over them, or you can add some oil and vinegar, whichever you like to do, or in your salads, or with some cheese. Here's something else too. I've got some oven-dried tomatoes. You hear a lot about sun-dried tomatoes, but this is something you can do right in your own home. You can dry these in the oven. I like a 200, 225-degree oven. That's not a hot oven. That's just kind of a warm oven. You want to slice your tomatoes and then just lay them on like a cookie sheet or on the racks there, and they dry up nicely. And they have such a wonderful, wonderful flavor. It's one of the things I love about dried tomatoes. It's like that condensed tomato flavor. Just so I want to eat this now. They're great in salads. They're great in pasta dishes. And I thought I'd show you here before we get started in making our soup how to peel, an easy way to peel a tomato, right? I've got a nice peeling knife. No, I'm just kidding here. I'm going to take a round tomato like this and just kind of scar it across the top. Not very deep, just a little scar like that. You've probably seen this on cooking shows all across the country, but we want to make sure you know how to do it. And I've got a pot of really hot water. I'm going to drop that in. 10 seconds or so, 10, 15 seconds at max, because if you leave it in there much longer than that, you wind up cooking the tomato, and we don't want to do that. So you just really want to get that skin nice and hot. So what do you think that is? Is that 10 seconds, everybody? That should be 10 seconds, huh? Okay. I can't count today. So we're taking this out with our little wire basket here. Okay. I'm going to plunge it into some cold water and just roll it around there. That shocks the tomato. That stops the cooking if it had started. And then the skin should just pop right off of there, okay? See how easy that peels off? Nice peeled tomato. Now let me tell you a truth, okay? One of the Curtis truths in life. Again, being a country boy, I never peel a tomato. I can't help it. It's like, the peel has something to do with the tomato. So I shouldn't say never. Never say never, right? I very rarely will peel the tomato. Although look how easy that works. So if you... the recipe calls for peeled tomatoes. You know how to do it. But if you're like me, you'll just ignore those directions here. Let's do a little housekeeping. I'm going to take this water off the pot so you have off the burner so you have a clear shot at everything I do. Okay, now let's get busy. We're going to make our tomato soup, and I've got my burner here. I'm going to add a little bit of oil to my pan along with some butter. Remember, and I've told you this on so many occasions, that the oil will help raise the smoking point of the butter. Why are we adding butter? And we're just adding a little bit. It gives it kind of a smooth, creamy taste. So butter just adds something. Sometimes there's just no substitute for butter. Butter makes it better, as Mama would say. Okay, now I've got some diced tomatoes here, and I've got some parsnip and carrots, grated carrots. I've got grated parsnips and grated carrots. But the first ingredient that goes in our soup pot after the oil are our onions. And I want you at home to take and cook the onions for about 3 to 4 minutes. You really want to get those cooked in nicely, because this is the base for your soup. This is a really simple soup. We've got 4 ingredients here. So take your time, and you don't want to really brown the onions, but you want to let them cook until they're translucent, till they're clear. And notice I'm continually stirring here. I could add a bit more olive oil there. Just a bit. Okay? I'm also going to add just a pinch of salt. maybe a double pinch there. Okay, right in the onions. Why? That helps bring the liquid out of the helps bring the liquid out of the onions. Okay, that salt does right there. Brings a lot of flavor out. Oh, those are looking really pretty. Can you see that? I cast a pretty big shadow here, don't I? Right over my pot. But oh, great shot there, baby. Ow! Looking good. So we're going to add next. We're going to add our parsnip. And take your time. You can grate that parsnip right over your pot there. Get yourself a nice little grater, and you just grate it right in there. One parsnip, right? That's all you really need there. And let that cook for a couple of minutes there. And add our carrots. This soup is incredible. Again, you can grate this right over the pot, or you can grate it ahead of time like we've done here. Add those to it. Straighten it up a bit. And remember now, whenever a recipe, when you're working with tomatoes, a great thing to add, some of the herbs that are wonderful with tomatoes, things like basil, wonderful with tomatoes, marjoram, oregano, all those herbs are great. Now we're adding our diced tomatoes. Boy, that looks good. I love tomato soup. We're going to let this simmer. We're going to add this, let this cook for a second with a lid on at home for about 5 minutes. Just let all the juices come out. And the last thing we're going to add here is our vegetable broth, okay? We've got to let all those natural juices from the tomatoes, the onions, and everything come out. We're going to add a nice homemade vegetable broth here. Just pour that right in. We want to bring this to a boil, let this come to a boil, and then lower it to simmer, right? Right. Ooh la la. I love tomato soup. Now, earlier when I was doing my little shopping segment, you saw me pick up some noodles. That'll be a good time you can add your noodles. Don't add too many because the soup will really become thick if you add a lot of noodles. You can also add rice here, but again, I would add cooked rice because it won't absorb all the moisture. If you add uncooked rice, it will like really soak up all the moisture. I'm going to go ahead and place a lid on here. And here's the soup. I've got it already prepared. Let's bring it over. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at the color there. Oh, wonderful, wonderful soup. There's a little restaurant in Marin County called Umberto's that makes a wonderful tomato and carrot soup. But you know what? I think mine will rival Umberto's. Okay, we're going to add a tomato. Ooh, isn't that pretty? Can you imagine that? We can take some of that nice bread that I've got back here in the back and serve it up some rolls. Beautiful, beautiful soup. Let's walk this over here. We'll put it with our other dishes. We're going to take a little break. When we come back, I got a tip for you. Got a hug for you, too. So don't you get lost, and definitely don't turn that dial. Ooh. Nice shot there. A little shot of my cabbage coming in. Hey, I forgot to give you a hug in that last segment, so give it up, get it up there. Woo, nice big old hug. 8 hugs a day. You got to give them, you got to get them. All right, tip time. Tip. You know, when you take red cabbage and you cook it, sometimes it turns blue. You want to stop that from happening? Well, I've got a clue for you. Hey, he's a poet. Anyway, I've taken and shredded my red cabbage. I'm going to place this into my pot of boiling water. We're going to do 2 tips with this today. Now, if you let this cook for over 10 minutes, you'll get that odor in your house, okay? So remember, to keep the smell from happening, that cabbage smell, releasing those gases, cook your cabbage under 10 minutes. Bring it to water and braise it. Now, to keep that cabbage from turning blue, what I'm going to do is add some apples along with some citrus juice, a little lemon juice here. Let's just cut one in half here, and we're going to squeeze just a little lemon juice in there. You can remove those apples or just let them cook down into your dish. All righty? Isn't that nice? Really, really easy tip. So just let them cook about 7 to 8 minutes. You get nice steamed cabbage, braised cabbage there. And here it is with cabbage. We mean cabbage. Cabbage and apples. Wonderful, wonderful dish there. I think the kids will enjoy that. Has a nice sweet flavor. And you see the color, still nice and red. And also those red apples look pretty good there, huh? And remember, it's so easy. There's just 2 ingredients that we added to those cabbage to keep them nice and red. Citrus juice and sliced apples. Those are the 2 things. And they also make the dish taste good, too. That's a braised cabbage with those beautiful red with that beautiful red color. It's real easy to do. And remember, don't overcook those cabbage. However, being a country boy like me, we don't mind that smell in the house. All righty? Okay, let's recap today's show now. I had a lot of fun on today's pick of the day. I hope you did too. This was a dish we made for you on the show, and when you try this at home, just take your time. We've got the eggplant with that angel hair pasta. I think you're gonna love it. Some of the classic ways of serving cabbage is in coleslaw and Mama's fried chicken. Got to have her on the show, somebody to make that, cause you know I probably won't. Corned beef and cabbage. My Irish friends love that one, huh? And here's that stuffed cabbage. I do like stuffed cabbage. There are a lot of things that you can stuff cabbage with. You can stuff it with meat and fish and poultry or vegetables. Oh, here's one, sauerkraut. Oh, yeah, great with those hot dogs, huh? You like to do that? Yes, you do, especially those folks watching us up there in Milwaukee. Look at this. We've taken and sliced the top off the red cabbage, hollowed it out, and stuffed it with a nice mustard dip there with some crudité around the outside. Wonderful, wonderful thing to do. You can also steam that a bit. All righty? Did you have fun? I did. So remember, when buying those cabbage, take your time, get a nice head of cabbage that's heavy for its size, and make sure the produce person isn't trying to slip one over on you. Okay? And as always, may the God I love bless each and every one of you. You got to tune in every day to the Food Network, catch my show, Pick of the Day, plus all the other wonderful programs we have for you, and come back to see us. There's a reading group that needs your help. Please volunteer. Teach someone to read. God bless you. Peace.
Hello and welcome to Chef du Jour. Taking the reins today is Curtis Aikens, a self-styled, independent kind of guy that brings down-home Southern cooking into the 90s. Curtis, the television Food Network host of Food in a Flash and From My Garden, will cook today from his new book, Curtis Cooks with Heart and Soul. And here's Curtis.
Good day, mate. This is so much fun. I love listening to Betty B talk about me. It just makes me kind of like thrilled to hear her say those things. Yes, I did learn to cook in Mama's Kitchen down in Conyers, Georgia, about 20 miles east of Atlanta. If you're down that way, stop by and say, hey, okay? Anyway, what I've been doing here during Betty's voiceover, as well as my little chit-chat with you, is mashing some eggs, and we'll use those in a second. This is a show about salads today, and yes, we are cooking from Curtis Cooks with Heart and Soul. It's my heart, it's my soul. I put a lot of love in this book, at least I try to, and I hope it comes out in your table. Let's talk about some of my favorite salad greens. When I say favorite, that's a word that, wow, I love just about everything in the produce section. So produce is my favorite, I reckon. Here I have a big mixture, a montage of produce. Let's start right in the front here with this little yellow-looking thing. This is the Belgian endive. This is just gorgeous. It's one of those lettuces. It's a member of the lettuce family, member of the endive family, actually, that is, I feel like, much better cooked than raw. It has a little bitter taste to it when you serve raw, although a lot of people like that. I think it's when raw, it's great in kind of an Italian salad mixture, or if you're looking for a spicy salad, the Belgian endive is great for that. It's also wonderful to stuff. Lauren, don't shoot me. You guys hear me talk about Lauren all the time. She's my sous chef that's worked with me on From My Garden. She works with the chef du jour. I want to take this out, so I don't want her to yell at me for breaking up her beautiful arrangement. But here, it's just a natural cavity there that's great to stuff. You can take take 2 leaves, and if you want to make like a stuffed endive, you can wrap like that or whatever and roll them up like you would cabbage leaf. It is wonderful, I think, cooked. I like to mix maybe some rice and nuts together and make a little stuffed leaf with that one. Let's talk about other lettuce. I could talk about this all day, so someone has to move me along to get me cooking. But here is another lettuce that personally I like cooked. This is radicchio. It's an Italian lettuce that's just fabulous. I remember when I worked at Balducci's, the first time I really started to work with the radicchio and had a chance to go to Italy and see this growing in the fields. In Italy, the radicchio is used very much like we use the iceberg lettuce here. It's as common in Italy as the iceberg is here. Great, great lettuce in salads or cooked again. This is this one here. This is the iceberg lettuce. This is kind of the what we Americans think of as lettuce. When you say lettuce, we think of the iceberg lettuce. People complain that it's low on nutrition, but high on flavor, or a bit watery with the taste. Some people complain. I love iceberg. I grew up in Conyers, and this was a lettuce that was prevalent. This was popular in the South in those days. This was the 60s, early 70s, until I got to be a big boy and moved out west and saw all these other fabulous lettuces. But down the South, this was one that was popular. Now, what my mom would do with her salads is she'd like chop up 2 or 3 heads of iceberg. We had a big family. And then she'd add everything but the kitchen sink. She'd add radishes and peppers and all kinds of things. And I remember picking all that stuff out and just eating the iceberg with some Thousand Island dressing. Let me show you the romaine here. We're going to use the romaine in our Caesar salad that's coming up. Fabulous, fabulous lettuce. Remember, the greener the lettuce, the more vitamin C and iron and those things in it. Just fabulous, fabulous lettuce. The red leaf lettuce is a great, great lettuce. It's kind of moved to the front of my lettuce list over the past 6 or 7 years because it has a delicate, sweet flavor. Beautiful, beautiful lettuce. Now, let me show you some things when buying lettuces. And look for nice, firm bottoms. If the bottoms are mushy on the lettuce, that means the lettuce is old, has been stored improperly. Some other things that are in the lettuce family, we'll talk about them as we go on the show. This is like a little bit of let me taste this. Little watercress there, just fabulous. I had to have a reason to eat some butter lettuce, and I've also got some frisée, which is very popular in France. Let's start this Caesar out by making some croutons. What I've got here is a loaf of good old country bread. If you've got some day-old bread or some loaf bread, you can go ahead and toast it if you want, or just chop it up into pieces like we've got here. And what I've done is melt some butter in this pan. We don't want it smoking. Now remember this trick too. If you want to raise the smoking point of butter, or margarine, just add butter, that is. Add a little bit of oil to it. That'll raise the smoking point. The butter can get hotter before it burns or before it begins to smoke. That's what adding a bit of, whoa, don't get away from it, Mr. Pan. Now what I'm going to do here is add my bread crumbs. I just want to turn that over in that hot butter. Just turn it over, turn it over, turn it over. This is making nice homemade croutons here. Just kind of toasting it. And I'm also going to add some fresh herbs. I've got some rosemary, thyme, some sage, whichever herbs you like. I'm going to just sprinkle those right in there. And I also have a bit of garlic salt in that butter to give it a little flavor. Oh, I just love the smell of sage. Just beautiful, beautiful. This is great with poultry. If you're if you eat turkey or chicken, this is a great seasoning, great herb for poultry. And some rosemary. Now, what I want you to do is just turn that over, and let the bread absorb that butter, and you've got nice homemade croutons. Let us make our Caesar dressing. And what I've done is I mashed up the eggs here. And of course, you will get all these ingredients and instructions to make it when you buy my book, Curtis Cooks with Heart and Soul. To my eggs, I'm going to add a bit of, add some Parmesan cheese right here. Okay? Now, I'm going to add a bit of garlic. Here we go. Let me grab this little spoon here. Add a little bit of garlic there. Just mix that up with my wooden spoon. I'm going to add some Worcestershire. Get in there. Get in there. Get in there. Just a bit there. A little more. I like that stuff. Okay? Now, some oil. Extra virgin olive oil I'm going to use here. Okay? About 6 tablespoons. Well, it's according to how many eggs you use, really. Okay? Or how much dressing you want to make. Now, I've got a bit of lemon juice. Now, notice, I left the anchovies out. They don't go in my recipe, okay? But if you want them, you can add them too. And if you want this a little thinner, just go ahead and whisk up or break it up as you like. I'm going to add a little more oil to it also. Give it a little, there we go. There we go. Now, we're going to take and toss this over our salad along with our croutons, those homemade croutons. I have some already done here. Just sprinkle those in. And then we're going to add our dressing. Toss, toss, toss. And we are ready to serve. Ready to serve, okay? I'm going to toss this as we get ready to go for a break. And don't you go away. I've got more salads on today's show. It's going to be a lot of fun. So you get up close to the television there and be ready for a hug, all kind of things right here on Chef Du Jour with me, Curtis Aikens. Ooh, I think I want to eat this now.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Jamir Reynolds. I'm the founder and executive director of the Marin County Cooperation Team, better known as MCCT. And welcome to our Southern Marin Community Response Team meeting, number 42. Some folks will be piling in a little bit. Also, for those of you that are not here, don't be jealous. We got some pastries that were made by one of our culinary business incubator participants, which is fantastic. So that's why you should come. So I always like to start off. So I'm going to be yelling, folks, just so y'all know, because they said they can't.
We gotta yell.
Okay. Can y'all hear me? All right, Eric, I see that thumb. All right. Okay, everyone. I always like to start off with a quote. And our quote for today is, either you run the day or the day runs you. Everyone has the same 24. It's about what you do with those 24. And don't be mad at someone because you let them subtract the hours from your day to add to theirs. Take responsibility for yourself. All right. God, we're looking at the settings, and I'm screaming. All right.
It's better, so I think we're good.
All right. We're just trying to get right. Thank you all for your patience. Yes. I thought someone said my name.
No,
Oh.
yeah, exactly.
Ida said, and we said, y'all should be here. All right. So we got some, the way that we like to start things off, we often treat this like a family barbecue. We always got cousins that we've never met before. I think we have a few cousins on the line that we haven't met. So introductions and community announcements. If you are new, please share your name, your organization, and what brings you to this work. The floor is open.
Welcome back to Chef du Jour. I'm just rubbing my hands because I want to have some fun in the kitchen. We're going to do a recipe, a salad with asparagus and vegetables that I think you're going to love. My kid Curtis Jr. just loves this thing. We're going to start talking about the elements of the salad. I've got some eggplant here, just beautiful, beautiful. The globe, the purple eggplant. Remember, there are literally dozens of varieties of eggplant. If you can remember one of the shows from my garden where we actually showed you, I think, 52 varieties. Am I right, Pat? Pat O'Gorman, my producer of today, and also from my garden. It's a pleasure working with her again, by the way. That's a little personal tip. I know she's going to say, Curtis, you can't say those kind of things, but I love you, lady, so I'm going to say them. Anyway, the eggplant is gorgeous. Remember, there are two types. There's a male and a female eggplant. We were talking about that in the break, and finding out which is the tough part. So you have to do that on your own. Just kidding. Asparagus, fresh asparagus. There's nothing like fresh asparagus. I'm going to pick some of this up and talk to you about buying and storing fresh asparagus. I want to have it close to my heart. My kids love asparagus. Curtis, I remember for his first birthday, we celebrated with a pound of asparagus. When buying asparagus, the key thing I want you to look for are the tops here, the tip of the asparagus. The crown should be nice and closed like that one. That's a beautiful asparagus. If they're open or a bit soft, you want to stay away from them. When I say soft, you can tell it gets a little slime to them, and you definitely want to stay away from those. The stem should be nice and firm. Look at that. That's a great, great stem of the asparagus. Store asparagus, I want you to store them in paper bags. Use them within 2 days, okay? They start to lose their nutrient, and they're just not as good after about 3 or 4 days. They really get bad. Fresh ginger. I've got some fresh ginger. Let me just kind of move this over to show you guys this fresh ginger. This is a beautiful, beautiful ginger here. Isn't that gorgeous? Some of the best gingers grown in Hawaii and also in the Philippines. So look for ginger from those areas. It stores very well. Once you cut a piece off, you can go ahead and place it in the fridge. That little part that's exposed will dry out, but the rest of the ginger will stay nice and fresh, stay nice and moist, I should say. Great little ginger, and try it in different recipes. It adds something. Something, right? Well, let's get to cooking here. Enough chit-chat about the elements here. I've got a pan, of course, it's nice and hot, and we're going to add a little bit of oil here to the pan, okay? And I'm going to add two items simultaneously. My garlic, I've got some fresh garlic, and the ginger. They're going to go at the same time, okay? Now we're going to stir those in, add that to get that nice Asian flair to this recipe. Whoa, Curtis, that's a little hot. Okay, I'm going to pull that back a bit. I'm chit-chatting too much there. I'm going to add my peppers to this as well. Okay. Ooh. Okay, red and green peppers. Then I'm going to add my tofu. Oh, yeah. A little tofu there. And just turn this over, turn this over. Notice I'm controlling the heat by just moving the pan from the burner there, okay, as opposed to turning it down. Next, I want to add my eggplant. I've got the eggplant cubed. And what I want to do, and I want you to do this also at home, go ahead and add a little bit of salt, just a tad. Okay, now we're going to place a lid on this dish and let it simmer until the eggplant has softened. And here I have one that's softened up for us. Let's move over here and work with this one. I'm going to turn this burner off. Now, we're at this point at home. This is going to take you about 8 to 10 minutes to get to this point. Notice how the eggplant has colored up a bit, and it's absorbed all those wonderful flavors. So what we're going to do here is add a bit of vegetable stock, and you've heard me talk about this so many times on different shows. And vegetable stock, I love using vegetable stock as opposed to the meat stocks because it allows the flavors of the other elements to come out more. Even if you're making chicken soup, what's chicken soup, Curtis? Chicken soup. Okay, if you're making chicken soup, if you've got a sick loved one or something, use the vegetable stock. It really lets the flavor of the chicken come out, okay? Try that out, let me know what you think. And I'm also going to add a little bit of Chardonnay. You can use any white wine. Oh, this is a nice one. It's a barrel select from a particular vineyard that I like. We're going to add some Chardonnay. In fact, I have a couple of these bottles at home, and I don't want to advertise, so you'll have to write in on the web and say, Curtis, what was that wine you had? And I'll tell you. Anyway, we want to let this reduce, okay? Now, this is TV. You guys know that, right? Because you're watching. So I'm going to fast forward. I've got another pan here that is ready for the next portion. I'm going to transfer the lid because we don't throw this away. The crew is salivating to eat. Now, we're going to let this reduce down, and I'm going to add to it some asparagus tips, okay, and that I've already steamed. So all I really want to do here is heat them, and they will heat after you toss it. I'm going to add a bit of parsley, just a bit here, and then I'm going to garnish it more when I plate the vegetable. This recipe, this is kind of what my cooking is evolving to. Has a bit of the Asian flair to it, as well as the California style with the vegetables and the down-home flavor you get by allowing things to cook up. So it's kind of like, woo, South meets West meets Far East, huh? Woo, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's plate this up, and then we're going to take a break. But you're not going to leave me, right? You're just going to hang out, watch the commercials. You're going to come back. You're going to hug me. You're going to tell me how much you love the show, Chef du Jour. And it's a great little salad. Now, all those juices make for your dressing. So come on back here.